A pleasure to meet all at last, and welcome once again to HJN Season 5. So what we got here for today is something that's a bit different than the likes of many other animals I've talked about, because most of them that I've discussed appear on land. But I haven't really talked about much animals that dwell within the waters. Whether it be the Great Lakes or the various oceans or streams or rivers or whatnot, we might as well get at least one mere example of the likes of water-dwelling creatures, fish, mammals, etc. One example I feel like that is very well worth mentioning are dolphins. Yeah. Dolphins are indubitably probably one of the most unique species of animals to dwell around in the water. They could be a unique swimming buddy to encounter in the ocean, or they can actually be of a lot of use in terms of assisting you whenever you happen to be stranded. Yeah, dolphins have had a bit of a history over the years of being pretty friendly and helpful to people, especially if they happen to be on a plane wreck or shipwreck that unfortunately left little survivors. So, you could say the dolphins are pretty incredible to encounter, and quite a saving grace. Because if there happens to be certain other troubles brewing around in the waters, like a storm could dwell up or the fins of a shark could pop out of nowhere, well, there's always the likelihood that something could very much go wrong. But on the flip side, there's always a fortune that may favor you in a similar way as to how life might sometimes throw a lot of rocks at you, but it'll give you the chance to throw a rock back on those evildoers whom have tried to sabotage you over the years. When it comes to dolphins as a whole, they do have themselves a bit of a diversified diet, and they also are quite acrobatic, as a lot of times when dolphin groupings in the water happen to congregate together, they can put on one crazy show for people to watch. Anybody who's gone to SeaWorld? Well, we could talk a bit about the unique shows that they put on with all sorts of incredible sea creatures of all sorts. But then, of course, we could come across the somewhat dark side of things when SeaWorld unfortunately became under heavy fire at one point for certain captivity issues. Yeah, quite tragic. That many years ago, a handler of a dolphin ended up getting killed by her own friend. It was pretty awful. And all these years later, while some might debate about whether SeaWorld learned from the mistakes or not, I know for a fact, a lot has changed. So we might as well be welcoming to the many new things that have happened since then. The lessons we've learned since the mistakes were made, and more importantly, what history has shown over the years. They don't just make money by telling us something that happened long ago. They spread out moral messages, PSAs, and a lot of things worth taking into consideration, at minimum. And so, maybe that's just about enough for me to talk about, so, yeah. We don't really want to get into the neck of controversial stuff that happened, even if it was long ago, and it could always spark up again, in a new way. So all in all, well, there's a good amount of things I could say about the dolphin otherwise, like pop culture. I mean, again, there's the Dolphin Tale films, for instance. There's that scene in American Dad where Steve and some wayward camp goers end up escaping on some dolphins. Yeah, not very much in comparison to the bears or dogs, cats, foxes, or whatnot. But all in all, dolphins were still a great thing worth talking about here. And that's pretty much all I got to offer for this piece of HJN Season 5. So, I'll see you guys next time with another animal, and of course with plenty more worth talking about.